Season 4, September podcast with the 50th regular podcast. Go Dave, talk.
Hello! This is very special internet person who stumbled across this podcast because this podcast is the 50th one that we've done. It means nothing to anyone except for us. So we're celebrating. Celebrate with me, Toby.
There'll be a huge crowd sound and like lots of stuff that will happen. It will sound so great. It'll be like fireworks.
And in order to make this special for you, the listener, whether you're accidental or habitual, we have a special guest, Gordon Keith of KTCK Sports Radio 1310 and 96.7 FM, The Ticket fame. Did I say The Ticket twice? I don't care.
It doesn't matter.
Because he is super famous and he's a super close friend of mine and an acquaintance of Toby's, but he's not as famous as Toby. And he is going to join us for this pod. Can't wait for you to be entertained by his wit and his stories and his musical knowledge of the very underappreciated and extremely talented band XTC. We're doing a deep dive this month on XTC. Can't believe we've never played them before.
It's amazing.
So stay tuned for that. Before we get to all of the content and the Gordon Keith audio that you're so interested in listening to, two things I want to tell you about. One is our album of the month promotion. We have a vinyl sponsor. They are posterboy.com, positive with a Z. Go to posterboy.com and they have a banner at the top of their homepage
with us on it.
It says Htwow album of the month.
It's ridiculous.
You can click on that banner.
Click it.
And you can give them an email address and you can register to win a free copy of the Htwow vinyl album of the month.
Now we're talking.
And this month it is maybe the most popular XTC album of them all.
I know, and the one you have the hardest time saying. So
let me see if I can say it.
Let's do it right.
Oranges and lemons.
God,
man, I nailed it just then.
Yeah, but you haven't said it right all day.
I know. Stay tuned to see how much I butcher that name of the album, but please go to positivespin.com, spend all your money there, all of your disposable income buying vinyl records, and also register to win a copy of the album of the month. Also, something that we haven't mentioned in a long time, just want to throw this out there.
Throw it.
If you want to drop us a review, would really help us out. We are super close to 100 reviews on Apple Podcasts /iTunes. So if you go on there, pound out a 5-star review, write some words.
Mainly mention me.
Mainly say how sexy T is and how you love hearing his voice.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And that everything that he picks really vibes with you and makes you feel alive inside.
Right.
Say all those things and then press enter. And then it will go up on the internet for everyone to see, and everyone will know that we have a great podcast because of your words and your stars that you assign to the podcast.
It'll be on the intranet.
It'll be on the internet forever. And maybe we'll even read it on the pod. And if it's awesome enough,
yes,
maybe I will track you down and personally give you a free vinyl from Positive Spin. I don't know.
That's messed up.
I don't know.
I don't even
know how this works. I'm just throwing it out there on the fly.
I can't believe we're even here.
So give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and just see what happens. Your life is going to change. It's going to change, man.
Man.
You don't even know.
Man, today is a new day.
Stay tuned for Gordon.
Wow.
And
speaking of that,
and
interesting.
Their top charting album.
Dave can't spot a segue.
I know that
he just can't spot it.
Their top charting album was the song or the album that
Are
song
you okay?
is from. If you quit kicking me in the nuts, I could be fine.
This was on Oranges and Lemons, wasn't it?
I can't remember. What's his name?
Yes, it was.
Yeah. God, this album was produced so fantastically.
I know.
I love you. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Htwow episode 50.
No, he's really loud. He's got a loud voice.
This is the September 2021 episode of High Tea with Old Waver. He's High Tea at Toby Pipes on Twitter. I'm Old Waver. Dave Lane at Old Waver on Twitter. And together, we bring you a monthly podcast that is a song swap and a beer swap. We play some songs and we drink some brews. And we hope that you listen and enjoy yourself.
This bass, when it starts over, is so weird. It always goes
Never
a little
noticed
bit
it.
longer than I think it will.
And that other strange voice to some of you, but very familiar and soothing and exciting to most of you, is Gordon Keith.
Yes.
At
Thank you.
Gordon Keith on Twitter. World famous broadcaster, author, writer,
So very famous.
podcaster, musician, cultural icon, all of those things.
He's running out of steam.
I feel like I am splatting. You might want to bring me down just a smidge.
You're fine.
Yes, so because this
Although
is...
these RE20s are supposed to be darn near splat proof, they don't have the proximity effect.
I ended
gonna
up
talk gear all
getting these for Dave. Because, man,
Really? Because he's loud?
he can project. There's something to it. And they're the radio standard.
That's
They
true.
are. Mm-hmm. I love these things.
I know, I do too.
They're
Yes.
so donkey phallus, but they're so good.
They are donkey phallus.
It makes me comfortable talking into a donkey phallus.
Yeah.
So because...
I'd watch you do a donkey show.
Yes. Because this is episode 50.
We're still in the intro. Sorry.
Because this is episode 50, we wanted to do something special. And because most of the people who listen to this pod... Now, we've gained listeners worldwide that listen for our cute personalities and the sweet music that we play.
I feel like he used that voice for me.
But...
Why does he go into that voice all the time?
He just does. It's his
the
go-to.
donkey phallus. But most people who listen to this program are familiar with work that I have done on The Ticket, the sports radio station in Dallas. And whereas I am a mere bit player in the fantastic and decorated history of The Ticket,
Are you going to edit out all these pauses between words?
No,
this is my show. You don't talk
Well, you don't need
until...
punctuation after every single
I
word.
make them longer.
But
Start at the beginning.
But people who listen to The Ticket, who barely know who I am, definitely know who Gordon is, because Gordon is one of the gentle musers, along with Craig Miller and George Dunham.
They're not so important. You can skip their names.
Yeah. I mean,
Let's keep it on me.
you do the segments that everyone wants to hear, the observation deck, Muse in the News, Gordo's Corner, the 840 bit, the best parts of the show, all you.
Thank you.
And we
is
could think of
gross.
we could think of no better way to boost listenership of our little podcast than having a megastar on our 50th episode.
Thank you.
And so we are broadcasting from my house in Htwow Studios, Dallas. This is your first time visiting my home.
It is.
My most recent home.
And I thought we were good friends, and this is the first time I've actually been in your home, your new home.
No, I've never been in your home, so shows what good friends we
You've
are.
been in my home. When was the last home you were in? The one down here?
The one that you let me live in after you moved out.
Oh, yes. That's right.
I love that home.
Yeah, that was a great home.
What's the difference
Should
between
be
a
house?
home and a
Yeah.
house? Like, I love that house, but do people
house?
say I love that
It was a house
home?
because it was not a home. There was not furniture in every room, and it was not decorated.
Oh, lived in makes it a home.
Yeah, I think lived in and probably kids make it a home.
There has to be love in a house for it to be a home.
Yeah,
and
there
when
was
Dave lived
there was
there,
not love in that house.
That's one of those cursive
Yes.
on the wall thing.
Uh-huh.
You know.
Yeah, we
From
had
Michael's.
Toby was at many a football watching party at your former home that was my house.
Yeah. We're not too far from it here.
No,
I mean,
no.
We're in the same neighborhood.
I could throw a football into the backyard from here.
Mm-hmm.
Whose fire pit was that?
Oh, the chimenea? That chimenea.
Was that yours?
No. That was.
No, as a matter of fact, that was against his renter's policy, and this is the first I'm hearing
Let me
of
tell
it.
you, the rocket fuel that was shot out of the top of that thing.
Oh, no.
It was not good.
Yeah, I think it was a hand-me-down. I think I got it from our friend Robin. And then when I moved out, it became property of our friend Craig. And it's still in Craig's
That
backyard.
still is alive. That's the same one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we
It
would
looked like a jet engine.
Yeah,
sometime.
we would. It was one of those clay chimeneas, with the fat belly and then the
It all
pipe.
concentrates
Yeah.
up the pipe.
And so we would pack it so full of kindling and wood that it would fire out the top like a Saturn
Titan rocket,
rocket.
yeah.
So dangerous.
At some point, it did get so hot that the clay kind of cracked a little bit at the bottom.
Was it a fish face?
No, it was just a plain old terracotta.
Oh, okay. I don't know what I'm thinking about. Hey, guys.
So
Hey,
what,
Tara.
and didn't I rent that place to you, like, really cheap?
Like $1,200.
Oh, my gosh.
God, that place was so amazing. I
Yeah.
love that. What street is that?
It was on a nearby street.
Yeah.
Very nearby. Yeah.
Why? No, you don't have it anymore. Who cares?
Well, who knows?
But people can
Who
go
knows?
back through property records
I
and,
know. It's like,
beautiful mind where Gordon lives now, and we just don't want that.
damn internet.
Damn internet.
But yeah, and that place sold recently for a lot of money. Like the
Oh,
people
yeah.
who got it after me, they added on to it and like made it a.
Yeah, when you got it, it was a dump.
Yeah, I should have torn the place down.
It had different colored shag carpeting in every room.
In every so you went in it before
I think I saw pictures. I don't think I walked it when you got it.
Gosh.
That was one of the first ones around here that when you walked in, I was like, this place is nice. Like,
Yeah,
it wasn't
we
the
made
normal.
it nice. I mean, it was, I think we did a good job on it. It was nice.
It was solid and it was period appropriate.
Right.
And then the people that bought it, I don't know if it was the people that bought it directly after you. But
I think it was.
But the people that just sold it, they added, they bumped it out the back and added a bigger kitchen and a bigger living area and then a full master suite.
God, the kitchen was pretty big
next
already.
level.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. It was a pretty decent sized kitchen.
Yeah, it was like they sold it for like 1.2 or something.
Oh, God.
It was crazy.
Tell me that.
I threw up so many times in that house. I'm just kidding.
I threw up in the driveway and all
Did
over
you?
the kitchen. Don't you remember that? When I passed out at my birthday party at the Dubliner?
Oh, yeah.
And you had to take care of me?
How old were you?
I don't remember.
Oh, man.
Too old.
Just
Good
turned
times.
40.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a great place. I miss that place. I miss this area.
That was the best time of my life.
Really. Oh yeah.
Before we devolve too much further, I do want to spiff two sponsors really quick.
Okay.
One is our vinyl
Give them a
sponsor,
crafty.
positivespin.com, positive with a Z. And they have a fantastic promotion with us, the Htwow Album of the Month. So you can win a free vinyl copy of the Htwow Album of the Month. And the Album of the Month this month is XTC's Oranges and Lemons.
Whoa, are you serious?
Because
I'm like a huge XTC fan.
that's why we played XTC off the top. We played Mayor of Simpleton, which was the big hit off of Oranges and Lemons. And so you can win a copy of XTC Oranges and Lemons for from positivespin.com. Just go to the website and click the banner at the top that says H2Wow Album of the Month and give them an email address. And the other sponsor that we want to talk about is Goodfriend Package, 1155 PV Avenue in the Casa Linda, East Dallas area. They are our beer sponsor.
I'm a big fan of PV too.
I did not.
Me too.
I did not hook up with Matt today. I texted him yesterday, and I didn't hear back. I figured he was busy, so I just handled the beers on my own. But I still want to give them a little bit of love.
His beard is better than y'all's beards.
Yes,
Really?
His beard,
It's amazing.
His beard is an epic beard. And
How long does it have to be before it gets epic?
He's a fine man.
It's
Like you barely have one right now.
Yeah, I know, because I knocked it all the way down.
how's mine doing?
I don't even see
Have you ever had a beard?
I can't grow a beard.
Oh, really?
I'm
We'll keep you in our prayers.
14 forever.
You do look 14 forever. You're like
I know.
eternally young. He looks exactly like he did when I met him, whatever, 20 years ago.
There's good things
Uh-huh.
and bad things. People don't really take me seriously.
So we drink 2 beers on the pod. Sorry, I'm just trying to get stuff out
Dave
of the way.
does just kind of move on.
Lord,
I'm trying to get stuff out
Because
of
I
the
thought
way.
for sure we were going to start talking about PV for a little bit.
wait, we had a whole thing on PV we were going to talk
On
about.
amps? You wanna
Amps,
talk about-
guitars, and everything. I just took in, like, I swear to God, I'm not exaggerating. I think maybe 30 amps into Archie's guitars, PV amps, old classic PV amps, 30 PV amps. So if you want some classic
Consignment?
made in America, yeah.
Why
they're
did you
in
do
consignment.
that?
Because I had like collected all these PV amps over the years, and I don't
I thought
need
you were
them.
into typewriters. You're into amps now?
I still have typewriters. I'm about to
Man,
get rid of all those too.
I really wish you would have told me about that.
Really? What you looking for?
Well, you know
'Cause
that
I have
Take
like
this offline, guys.
I like collected every one of them almost. Everyone they made from all the different generations of amps, all made in America.
Well, you know they. Todd used to play through those TNTs,
yeah.
and those sound amazing.
Yeah.
But the one that the Cure used to use a ton of PV stuff.
Did they?
What's the one combo that's like a Fender concert, just has like the 112 in it?
Well, there's
There's a 212
there's a 212, and then was it a tube amp or a non-tube amp?
non-tube.
Okay, so solid state with 112. Dave, come on, we're talking PV. We got Bandits, we got special 130s that they made.
The
There's
first beer that we're drinking
Okay,
is
jeez.
from Lagunitas, the famous California brewery. This is called Super Cluster. Not Grape Cluster, but Super Cluster.
Oh God,
It
you
is
bring that up every time.
a citrus hopped mega IPA.
What makes it?
I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think it's like an 8.5. So it's a
Dang.
good start.
So you're
for
not
us.
going to read what it says under that?
I can't read it because it's too dark in
It
here.
says it says of intergalactic proportions.
Oh, yeah.
That's nice.
Like the Super Cluster logo kind of looks a little Flash. It's like a combination of Flash Gordon and Star Wars a little bit.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That looks cool. I like the graphics on that.
Yeah.
I like that you can't see in the dark either.
I know.
Remember my grandfather.
I
My
don't have
grandfather
my
always
readers.
complained there wasn't enough light.
I can't see how.
Oh, it's Toby too.
Look at the top there when they do the silver on the white.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, turn that thing on. I want to see how much. God, it's even still.
It's delicious, bro.
Did you see how much they? I like to know what they're giving me here.
Yeah, you don't want to get hammered within the first 15 minutes before he even gets out of the sponsors.
What's happened before? Okay, they didn't put it on here.
I swear, maybe
Why
it's
am
on
I
the
here?
maybe it's on the box. I swear it's like an 8.5. So anyway,
I can't talk about PV, but you can sit here and read beer content.
yeah, because it's our pod.
Okay. Jeez.
We asked Gordon because this is ostensibly a music pod, even though we talk a bunch of crap
You're
and we
not
drink beer.
saving that much time by saying pod, and it just sounds so haughty to me. I
ostensibly a music
listen.
podcast.
I listen to several different podcasts, and no one calls them pods.
I got that from him. He started calling it a pod.
You're gonna take it from him. He's 14.
Yeah, and
That's
I'm
true.
fancy.
That's true.
He's
I
a
think
fancy
I saw.
lad.
I think I saw it on his TikTok.
I'm super famous and fancy.
That's true. But
do
because
you have an active TikTok? Like, are you big into it?
I've never done a TikTok.
Oh,
we can do one tonight.
Y'all want to? Should we start?
I think
TikTok
I have a
things?
TikTok account.
We
My-
have an
my
Htwow
daughter has
TikTok
one.
account. And never did anything with it.
Really?
As
We
soon as-
have one.
Yeah, I signed up, And then when I found out that China was stealing all of my data, I deleted it.
Yeah, but now they don't.
But yeah, now it's been sold.
I don't know.
Have they sold it?
I think they sold it to a U.S. company. We'll still own it. We just have a shell company in America that owns it. Anyway,
PV.
so we asked Gordon what he wanted to play on the podcast.
Yes.
And
I said Hamlet, but you said it wasn't an acting deal.
And you said that you wanted to do a deep dive into XTC, a band that we have never touched on the podcast.
You haven't in all 50 episodes?
Yeah.
Or 49?
That's hard to believe. We've never played one XTC?
We've never played one XTC song. So I think that this is a fascinating opportunity because you are the foremost XTC expert that I know.
Wow. That you know. Okay.
Yeah, that I know.
All right. Yeah, I think XTC is a fascinating band because it's like they never got really huge, but they always, in the musician circles I ran in, they always had tons of respect. Like the musicians that I knew loved XTC. And so that really got me into listening to them more critically and trying to understand what they were doing musically because they do a lot of crazy stuff musically. And the fact that they never got huge just still baffles me in some way. Because they produce so much great music over so many years.
Yeah, they're English.
They're British. They're from Swindon, England. And I think it's close to seaside town. I'm not sure where Swindon is. I think they make like Corollas there or something. They have a big car manufacturing plant now. So XTC.
It's in Wiltshire, right? Is it in Wiltshire, Swindon?
I have no idea.
God, I'm thinking of the soccer team. It's got to be. I think
So
it's in Wiltshire.
they were late 70s to early 90s, right?
I'm the biggest expert he knows.
Yeah.
They got popular in the late 70s, yes. And they broke up around 1990, I would say.
Yeah, and so...
92, I don't know.
Their mid to late period, they did have some American success because of college radio and the beginnings of alternative radio. But by the time then grunge hit and all of the power pop and jangle pop and anything weird kind of just totally went away.
Right.
So, but were they ever huge in England?
No, I don't think they were. I think that they were about the same on each side of the pond. I think that I don't think they were huge there either. So,
they were definitely big enough to be on big enough labels and big enough producers to where records were being sold, but I don't know. They probably never even cracked the top 20.
Right.
I'm not sure.
I want to say
that.
Making Plans for Nigel, which is
their first one, right?
Yeah, and that was written by their bass player, was their biggest hit. I don't know that they had one that was ever bigger than that.
Yeah.
Yes.
All of their
Toby
sons
has sold more records than Andy Partridge.
I know, that is so horrible to say, but that is totally
That's true. Heck, you can go to any part of the world and hear you. I've when I've traveled in Europe, where are the places where there's got to be like little hot spots where that song still gets lots of plays and spins?
Australia, right?
Australia, Germany, England.
That's so crazy. You had to get permission from Tiffany's because that's shown in the video, right?
No, they gave permission. All that stuff that we're using in the video is from Tiffany's.
Really?
Yeah, they put all that out there because they wanted the publicity. They thought that was cool.
And it was. I mean,
and
it's
when
like
we took breaks, we were in Tiffany's the whole time.
I did look up chart positionings, and so the highest charting single that they ever had was Mayor of Simpleton in the U.S., and that peaked on the Hot 100 at 72.
Holy crap!
my
I thought that was
gosh.
way bigger than that.
I thought it was too.
Because they played it on MTV all the
I
time.
know.
Yeah, that
I
was
know.
that and Making Plans for Nigel are the two that I would have said were their biggest hits.
So-
But
And
I
then
thought
they
were bigger
also
than that.
the one, the religious one.
Oh,
Dear God.
yeah.
They played that constantly just because it was such a. It was harsh. I even remember as a kid, like.
You
This
don't
is
want
tough.
your mom to hear you
Yeah.
listening to that.
But anyway, so what were you doing next?
Oh, I was just going to say, in the UK, their top single was Senses Working Overtime, which peaked at number 10.
Wow.
And
Speaking of that,
interesting.
their top charting album.
Dave can't spot a segue.
I know, that
he
was
just
it.
can't spot it.
their top charting album was the song, or the album that
Are you
song
okay?
is from. If you quit kicking me in the nuts, I could be fine. English Settlement peaked at number 5 in the UK.
Yeah, great album. Deservedly so. So what did in America, what did you say that was the top album they had there in America?
They don't have... okay. Yeah, their top album was... Black Sea peaked at number 41 in the US.
It's not that bad for an album.
Love that album.
And Oranges and Lemons peaked at 44.
Holy, really?
Yeah.
Golly, that is...
So they kind of suck, but we're going to do a whole episode about them.
They don't
No,
suck.
they're
It's
amazing.
just they're underappreciated.
They're
No, that's
amazing.
true.
They were marginalized. But I think Andy Partridge still lives in the same house he lived in since the 80s.
They paid off.
You know what? We need to get into that in a minute because there's stuff with him, right?
Yeah, there's stuff with him.
Yeah, well,
Let's play a song.
Yeah, let's roll Senses Working Overtime because that is the first song that you are actually choosing to play.
I chose this one for a very specific reason because you get a good feel of how weird they are in the beginning. The instrumentation's odd, the background vocals are odd, and then it goes into like one of the catchiest choruses of all time. It shows, and how they get from that verse to that chorus and put it into the same song. I think it's just masterful.
Here it is. Senses Working Overtime.
Hey, hey, the clouds are away. The straw for the donkeys and the innocents can all sleep safely. All sleep safely. My, so
Isn't that brilliance? When was the last time you heard that song, Dave?
I can't even tell you.
It's one of the best pre-choruses in the whole village.
So great.
It does sound like they had two different songs.
Yeah.
They were like, well, I don't know what to do with these. Well, let's put them together.
Yeah.
You know, he kind of seems like he does that a lot.
Yeah,
Like
he
he has
does.
a bunch of ideas and he just kind of makes them work. But that's Htwow, and that drum sound, you know, he's the guy with Steve Lillywhite that did they do the gated reverb snare thing.
Right.
That was in the air tonight. Like, that sounded like it.
Yeah. Those
Totally.
drums are so forward in the...
Yeah, that snare
the
drum.
song.
Their drummers, man, that's an underrated drummer.
Yeah, and I
he
think
never
this
comes
is-
up on anything.
This is... I'm trying to remember if their drummer was in the band at this time. I think so. What album was Senses working overtime on?
English Settlement.
It was on English Settlement, okay.
So that's like early. That's like 82. Do you have what the name of what the first band was called? Because their bass player has the coolest name.
What XTC was before they were XTC?
Yeah.
Star Park and the Helium Kids.
God, that's funny.
Two different names.
Okay, it's not Star Park. Is that the one that had the bass player named Nervous Steve?
I don't know. Those
Nervous Steve.
Those don't have wikis.
I want to know what Nervous Steve is up to.
Yeah, okay. So early members, so pre-1975.
Is this still Star Park?
Well, it says the Star Park and Helium Kids era, kids with a Z. So
They were ahead of the curve on that Z thing.
Dave Cartner was a guitar player. Paul Wilson was a drummer. Steve Hutchins was a vocalist. John Perkins was a keyboardist. And Nervous Steve was bass guitar in 72. So that must have been Star Park. Nervous Steve.
Don't you want to
Wait,
see a-
this was XTC before XTC?
Uh-huh,
Yeah.
yeah.
You've listed none of the members of XTC, though.
Yeah, those are early members. He was asking.
Oh, in addition to
So,
Andy Partridge.
Yeah,
Okay.
so principal members, of course, Andy Partridge,
God, I didn't think that they were called Star Park. I thought they were called something else weird.
Colin Moulding, bass guitar for the entire duration.
Dave Gregory wasn't in them yet.
Dave Gregory was 79 to 98.
Fantastic guitarist.
Drummer,
He fell out. He didn't make it to the end. Did Nervous Steve continue on? And was he ever part of another big band?
I
He
hope
was,
so.
He was too nervous to make it
Too
big.
nervous. Poor guy.
I just want Nervous Steve. I hope he's doing well.
Oh, Lord. Okay. So that was song number 1 I wanted to play.
Yes.
May I talk about song number 2 yet?
No, we're not there yet.
Oh, we got to do sponsors or something?
No, we're just gonna. Well, we have a song that Toby wants to play. We're doing stuff kind of chronologically. By the way, they are from Swindon.
Yes.
Swindon Town.
They used to call Andy Rocky because he was really good at playing the Beatles song Rocky Raccoon.
He's a weird looking guy. He has the little John Travolta chin. He's got that. He's balding now. He's like bald.
Yeah, he's
Completely
totally
bald.
bald.
And some friends of ours went and knocked on his door one
I was
time.
just about to say that.
Did you know this story?
Yes. Yeah.
So I'm trying to see if I even remember this story, but it was friends of mine that I used to play in a band with a long time ago. Paul Averett, who's played on a lot of stuff around here, and Danny Delamateer, who I started playing with back in high school. I don't know if Danny was with him. I want to say that Paul and somebody else went up to Andy's house and knocked on his door, and Andy let them in, and they hung out with Andy in his living room. And Andy
Swindon?
in Swindon, yeah. They found out where the guy lived, and Paul is like a huge XTC fan, and found out where he lived and went
Was
and knocked
this
on the door and
late
hung out
80s?
with him. No, this was in the 90s, I think. Boy, my number for Paul Averett is probably 50 years old. I have no idea if he still has that number, but I'd love to find out the real story on that at some point.
Did they jam with him?
I don't know.
Man, they probably could have. Paul's good.
Well, I still have a number for Paul
Danny's
Averett.
good. Danny can play anything.
Yeah.
Will this still be Paul Averett's number? Busy?
It's
How is that
It's a
possible?
landline.
It probably is a
It's a
landline.
time machine
He's
back
on the
to
phone with his
1989.
grandma. I haven't even heard that noise in
Okay,
him.
now I have, here's some more Paul Averitt numbers. These look, let's see. Oh, it's ringing.
Okay.
There's no way.
The number you dialed is not a working number.
Okay,
All right.
okay, all
Well,
right.
we see how
And-
tight you
Hold
are
on,
with
let's try the
Paul.
last one.
Then
Let's
I
try
have
the last
one more. Ah, that's a good sign. I haven't talked to Paul on the phone in like 15 years.
Hi. I'm not home right now, but if you want to,
It's definitely him.
just start talking at the sound of the tone.
I love it.
Could that be him?
That's totally
Didn't sound
him.
like him.
But he was using a vocoder.
Hey, Paul, it's Gordon Keith. Give me a call back. I have a question about Andy Partridge. This isn't Paul. It's going to be so confusing.
Yeah.
I love you. All right.
See, Dave, this is what I was talking to you before. Do you see that message? Mm-hmm. Yours did not sound like that.
I don't even know what mine is.
You go like this. Hi, this is Dave.
I thought it was just like the.
He nods
the-
off.
I thought it was just the whatever default computer voice.
No,
thing.
it's you. And you say,
Well, I probably recorded it 10 years ago. I don't even know what my outgoing.
you
message
sound
is.
super upset, and it's not.
I probably
good.
was at the time. If it
don't
was
know
10,
what-
if it was 10 years ago, I was probably really
It's just
depressed.
like-
I don't know what Dave's outgoing message sounds like.
all right, let's hear it. I'm
Okay,
telling
let me-
you,
let me
that's
find
not.
it here.
It's not exciting.
Dave Lane.
Do you still have me in your phone?
Let's see. Yeah, I do. Have a home phone number for you that's a 972.
No, I don't know what that is.
Uh-oh. Oh, wait.
You've reached Dave Lane. Please leave a message.
Boy, the energy does fall off there at the end. When do you think you recorded that?
I don't know.
Man, it's so mean.
Do you have the same cell phone
Dave
number you had
Lane.
like when you and I started working together?
Yeah, this is. That was probably from the first iPhone I had in 2008 or 2007.
Dang.
By the way, Swindon is home to a
Now do your
BMW.
feminine voice again. It's
Swindon is
stop, dude.
a BMW Mini factory.
BMW's made in
Well,
Mini. The Mini
yeah,
is
yeah.
made in Swindon.
Mini is owned, I guess, by BMW.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
Huh. No.
So I don't know if we should talk about this now or maybe we tease it. We play the song that Toby wants to play, talk about it next. But I was curious about, because you guys did both play in bands at roughly the same time.
Indeed.
How often
Toby was much more successful than I
sure,
was, to
but
say the
how,
least.
how
That is
often
not true.
How often did paths cross? Were there any memorable interactions that either of you had?
I don't remember playing with you guys, but I bet you we did because
I remember
we
y'all.
were all in the 214 Entertainment, Paul Nugent, and that whole management group. We were playing.
Swinford and all them. Yeah.
Yeah, we were playing Main Bar and Rhythm Room a lot, and those places. And I remember playing with. For some reason, I don't remember playing with you guys.
I remember
I do
seeing
remember-
you guys at Doctor. There was two Dr. Smiths, but the one on Fry Street.
Yeah,
Dr. Smith's too.
The
The one that
proper
became
one.
the one that became Mother's later.
Yeah, the better one. I remember seeing you guys there, and we were always jealous of y'all's name because we always had stupid names, and it seemed like that name.
what was y'all's former name?
Leper Messiah?
Leper Messiah. So I wonder if we ever played with Leper Messiah. I don't remember playing with when you guys were Deep Blue something. But I remember.
We used to play the library all the time.
Now you had Interfaith.
No, I was. There were a few different bands. I was in.
Hemingways, I remember.
The Hemingways was the one that I sang and wrote the stuff.
That
in.
was the one, the name we were jealous of.
Yeah.
Because we were like, dang it. We just can't think of anything good.
And I still like that name, the Hemingways.
It's great.
And I'd like.
It's
I
very
don't think
telegraphic.
I'd
I
hadn't
don't
even-
know if you guys, because I never saw you. I don't know if you sounded like the Hemingways would be expected to sound, but I imagine you probably did.
We probably did, yeah.
It sounded that way.
What was strange is I had read no Hemingway before then. Like, we picked it out, I want to say, just because I thought it was a cool name. And I remember
It was either that or the Stephen Kings.
Oh, this is Paul Averett calling back.
Oh, sweet. Let's see what he says.
Hold on. Hey, Paul, what's happening?
No, I actually just landed in Hartford, Connecticut. I'm doing a gig tomorrow night.
Okay, let me explain the situation here to you. I'm on a podcast right now with some friends of mine, and we're talking about Andy Partridge.
Okay.
And I remembered a story in which you went and knocked on Andy's door when you guys were in England with the Beatles band, I think, or something. Go
Well,
ahead.
sort of. Not that band, but yes, I did do that.
Okay, so what happened? How did you know where he lived, and then what happened once you knocked on the door?
Okay, well, I was with we had me and my friend Bucks Burnett and another.
That's how I know the stories from Bucks.
Yeah, Toby Pipes is with me here from
Oh,
Deep
hey,
Blue
Toby.
Something.
Hey, man.
So yeah, okay. Bucks and I had a band called the Valares, along with this guy named Dare Mason, who was a producer and engineer at the Townhouse in London. So the three of us were. We did most of our recording in England, and this one particular trip, I think we had been recording for 3 weeks straight at Dare's flat in Shepherd's Bush, and we decided to take one day off to just kind of drive around, and we really had no idea what we were going to. At one point, we were talking about going to visit some like famous grave sites and stuff like that, but we ended up driving. Basically following the Thames, and drove up to Henley-on-Thames and saw George Harrison's house and kept driving up. And after a while, Dare goes, well, you know, we're actually headed straight towards Swindon. And so we went and saw the Uxbridge Horse, which is on the cover of English Settlement.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, Swindon's right below it. And so we drove into Swindon, and as we're driving along, Bucks is in the back seat. I'm in the front with Dare, and Dare says, "Well, where exactly do you want to go?" And from the back, I won't say the address because he still lives there, but I hear blah 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 Avenue Road.
Yeah, because Bucks seems to know everyone.
Well, Bucks through Chris and Tina from the Talking Heads, Bucks did some publicity work for the Heads whenever they did that All Talking No Head or No Talking All Head. I forget what the name of that album was. But anyway, he did some publicity for that, which included doing a small interview with everybody who had contributed vocally to that album, and one of those was Andy Partridge. And during that discussion, which was on the phone, Andy gave Bucks his home address, and Bucks just happened to remember it. So yeah, Bucks says, yeah, blah, 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 Avenue Road. And I kind of look back and I'm like, are you sure? He's like, when are we ever going to be in Swindon again? I was like, okay.
So you went and knocked on Andy's door.
Yeah, so I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, we go and knock on Andy's door, and to my surprise, he answers. And Bucks immediately says, hey, don't mean to interrupt or anything. We just, did some recording yesterday with Martin Newell, who Andy had produced, and he mentioned that we should look you up at some point, and we just happened to be in Swindon today, and don't mean to bother you. And he just goes, oh, I'm just writing this introduction to this book, and just leaves the door open and walks in. He's like, well, come on in. So we went in, and this is right when Wasp Star was about to come out, and he hadn't received his advanced copies of it yet, but he did have a CDR copy from the studio, and so he sat us down, and I told him that I had heard a lot of the demos of the songs that are on the record, and he showed me the track list. He said, okay, which songs have you heard? I've heard this. He said, well, I'm just going to play the whole album just so you can hear the new versions.
Dang, so wait, Andy Partridge played you Wasp Star.
Yeah, the first time I ever heard it was sitting in Andy's living room.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing, and having him do a play-by-play commentary of the whole thing.
And
when it was time to play Stupidly Happy, he says, okay, now guys, look, this next song, I know that the lick that the song is based around is just stupid. It's the stupidest thing I've ever written, but just accept it. That's in the spirit that it's, that it was, intended. That's kind of the point. And he played Stupidly Happy. I'll never forget that. Anyway, really nice guy. We had a great time hanging out with him. He and I talked a lot about their relationship with Virgin Records, and he was getting pretty angry about that.
Yeah.
We went and had dinner over at this Chinese restaurant that's just around the corner from his flat.
Wait, you left his house to go have dinner with him too?
Yeah, we just walked around the corner and went and had dinner over at Connie's was the name of the place. This Chinese place that he goes to all the time, and we had a great time having dinner and talking about. He does the best deputy dog impersonation you've ever heard in your life.
So
Amazing.
did you get to go and see that shed where he does his recording?
Yeah, saw the shed, and he started, when we got back to the house, he starts pulling out all of this stuff that he wanted to play for us, mainly about other people, and gave me a couple of cassettes from his collection of stuff that he had, and he asked if I had ever heard Judy Sill, and I hadn't, and he told me the entire story about Judy Sill, and he pulled out a cassette that who knows how old this cassette was, but it had Judy's first album on side 1 and the second album on side 2. He said, I'm going to play you 2 songs. So he played My Man on Love off the first album and The Kiss off the second album. And that was a revelatory moment for me. Andy Partridge explaining to me how much he loves the song The Kiss, which now everybody knows because he's actually talked about it quite a bit now. And he feels it's the most beautiful piece of music ever written. And it is. It's the best song ever created. But yeah, my first time to hear it was standing there with Andy in his living room, him talking to me about it.
That's so crazy.
Listen to this part. It was amazing. Yeah, it was really cool.
So, see, because I remember when you and I were in a band together, I mean, you were a big XTC fan, too. You were like a huge XTC fan, weren't you?
Absolutely. Still am, yeah. Absolutely. And I've got lots of stuff that's, signed by Andy and things like that. But once you've actually been in the house and played, like I've played his Martin that he wrote and recorded Dear God on and stuff like that.
Wow.
He was asking me about, I picked it up. He's like, I think I need to have that neck reset. What do you think? And I started talking to him about it. And I played the opening chords to Dear God. And he points at it and goes, that's the right guitar to be playing that on. I said, I know.
Jeez.
Yeah. He was such a sweetheart. Really nice guy. Just basically spent the whole day with us, the rest of the day, and it was really amazing. And his daughter Holly came home and got to meet her, and she was very sweet. Yeah, it was just a great time. And he was like, hey, you guys stop by anytime. It was really cool. And Bucks has been back since. I think he was there about 8 or 9 years ago, and went and revisited Andy, and he got pictures of him and Andy hanging out in the shed together, and Andy pulled out all this stuff that's unreleased and started playing it for Bucks, and yeah.
That is awesome.
He's a great guy.
Well, Paul, thank you for telling me the story. Thank you for sharing it with Toby and Dave, who are also on this podcast right now.
Is it okay if we publish this?
And yeah, you're going to be on a podcast. I hope that's cool. Anything you want?
That's fine. Yeah.
Well, cool. And I'll call you some other time to catch up on the
All
side.
right, man, rock and roll.
Okay. Nice to know I still have your number.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, cool. All right. Thanks, Paul. Love you.
All right, thanks, guys. Take care, man.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Boy, I tell you, Paul's another guy who I swear he's been on a lot of albums.
Man.
Hey, we just happen to be in town.
Yeah,
We're not stalking you
What's
at all.
funny is I almost interrupted you during the Paul story and was like, I have a whole other separate story from Bucks Burnett that he did the same thing, went and knocked on his door, and they were together. Because he showed me all those pictures at the All Good Cafe.
Oh, you
one
had a
day.
story about, hey, a friend of mine also knocked on Andy Partridge's door.
And they were together.
That's so awesome.
Because you know how many Bucks Burnett has a picture with him. He's either with Keith Richards or he's with everyone.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the guy knows everyone that was in the Faces, and I think he was at one point like a roadie for the Faces or worked with them somehow. So he, Bucks Burnett's crazy. He knows everybody.
So as that story indicates, Andy Partridge, very prolific.
Yes, very prolific.
Like just workaholic, has the shed in his backyard that he goes and records in.
Mm-hmm.
And so in the mid-'80s, XTC has this side project, and that was what Toby wanted to play to kind of play along with your theme.
Oh, yes.
The Dukes of Hazzard.
No,
the Dukes of Stratosphere.
Dukes of Stratosphere, but it's with just the R at the end, to I guess to be a Shakespearean reference.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
they didn't want anyone to know that it was XTC. So it's all pseudonyms. So what did he call himself?
I have that here. So Andy Partridge
They all
went
had
by
different names.
Sir John Johns,
Right.
and then Colin Moulding went by the Red Curtain, and then Dave Gregory went by Lord Cornelius Plum,
It's so
And
British. all
Nervous
that-
Steve as himself.
and then Ian Gregory, is he brothers with Dave
yeah,
Gregory?
that's the only thing that he was on with the brother. I think.
Okay, so
was
he
in this
he
band.
played drums, and he went by E.I. Owen.
It was great. The first one I think was an EP.
Yes.
And then they released some more music later, and they combined them into.
Yeah,
an
so-
album called
Yeah,
Chips
I
from
think by the
Chocolate
time
Fireball.
the second one came out, everyone was like,
Everyone knew who they were.
"It's
Yeah.
obviously XTC."
Because that's so crazy now to think about, because this is so before internet and everything, and so if you knew that was actually XTC, you considered yourself so in the know. I mean, that was back when you could have the real cult-like knowledge.
But the second the voice comes on, it's like,
Oh yeah,
it's a very distinctive.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's got a delivery and a way that he does his lines. Like it's him.
right.
I mean,
So the
I can
EP
say it now because I know, but I would have thought that I would have maybe picked up on that. Like, God, this band sounds. If it's not XTC, they sure do love them.
Right.
Jesus.
And I've often thought like some of the Jellyfish stuff sounds more like Dukes of Stratosphere than it does XTC. even.
Because it's so, because they had the psychedelic.
the psychedelia. Yeah.
Because that was the thing with them is the Dukes of Stratosphere wanted to recreate like a 60s whole trippy Syd Barrett,
Right.
early Pink Floyd. But we're playing more of the poppy because I think he was into the Monkees and stuff like that at one point too. But so this is mixed with psychedelic Monkees. This song we're gonna
Which
play.
one are we doing? Are we doing Vanishing Girl?
Yes. Yeah.
Is
so
that a Colin song or is that a Andy song?
I don't. Hang on a second. Let me
But
see.
the 25 O'Clock really does sound like early Pink Floyd. Has all the strange stuff. But then when it's his normal thing, it's
Yeah,
weird
that-
until the.
Vanishing Girl is a Colin Moulding. too.
Yeah, and 25 O'Clock I think goes into Vanishing Girl, so it goes like from the psychedelia stuff to into.
Well, 25 O'Clock was the EP, and so that came out in '85.
Right.
Vanishing Girl was
Oh,
the
was that
lead.
87?
Vanishing Girl was the lead single or the lead track off of Sonic Sunspot, which was '87.
Okay.
all
But
with
they spelled Sonic Sunspot with a silent P.
P.
Yeah.
Because they just basically didn't want to sell any record ever.
Yeah, let's just
So-
make it as weird
Yeah.
as possible. But yeah, so in going back and listening, you decided that Vanishing Girl, not only does it have the most plays, but it is the most accessible of their weird side projects.
Yeah, I would say for that, when we get to the After Dark, I'm going to play the other one because it does feel like something that would have been off, that first Pink Floyd record. That there's a couple of the tunes that sound like that, where there's even talking and clocks, ticking in the background and other tunes. This one, when Paul was saying that he likes the dumb line and you'll understand when you get it, I want you to see if you recognize the line at the start of this song because it's very, very. You can easily tell where they got this from.
Okay.
And I
All
think
right.
they did it on purpose as kind of a joke.
So this is Vanishing Girl. This is the Dukes of Stratosphere, the secret side project of XTC, and it's next on Htwow.
Someone's knocking in the distance, but I'm deaf and blind. She's not expected home this evening, so I leave the world behind for the vanishing girl.
By this time, the suitcase was getting very heavy, so I rested on a grassy knoll and took a peek inside. As I opened it, out burst a fountain of many-coloured butterflies, rainbow game counters, chess pieces, laughing cutlery, tiny chairs and tables, and flying plates covered with exotic fruit.
That's the first time I've ever heard that, and I love it.
It's fantastic.
So good.
I heart that.
Drum sound is so great. That bass is so great. That's an awesome song. It's such a great pop song.
When I was a kid, I mean, I knew all XTC stuff. I've never heard of that in my life, the Dukes of the Stratosphere thing.
I thought Sir John Johns really nailed the vocal.
Actually, that was the Red Curtain singing, I believe.
Oh.
He really did. And Nervous Steve.
No, he's not in
didn't
this
appear,
one.
yeah.
Not
And
in
he
this one.
killed it
He's
on
already
this
kicked
one.
out.
Oh.
But yeah,
He was probably there. It was probably like
as soon as it kicked in, it was the Lion Sleeps Tonight at the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like they just don't care about nothing.
Yeah,
That's what you can do when you have a side project.
Yeah, that you don't think anyone's going to hear.
Yeah, and
Right?
take your name off of everything. You
It
can
was
just-
it was like their Saturday Funhouse. Mm-hmm. Their 10 to midnight show.
That you can do whatever you want.
But I also get it. While they wanted to do it, they're probably like, why can't people make records like this anymore where you can, put an alarm clock in the corner and do creepy stuff that whenever, they got to do a bunch of cool stuff. And now they're on record companies that are like, this needs to be about 3 minutes, 20 seconds. And let's get rid of the clock, please.
Yeah, we need a radio edit. This is not a single.
The creepy girl at the end, can we take that out?
No, the Alice in Wonderland feel at the end.
I wonder if that's her. No, that's way too early for his daughter. Because that sounded like the girl on...
Yes, that was 80... When was that? 85 was when that came out?
87.
Was
That's
Dear
87,
God,
okay.
was that a little boy or a girl? Because that was obviously a girl.
I don't know if that was a little boy or a little girl
I can't remember now.
singing it.
It says it credits Lily Frazier for the narration.
I thought that was Lily Frazier.
It sounded like Lily
It
Frazier.
sounded a lot like Lily
Yeah.
Frazier.
Yeah, it had the same intonation.
Sure enough.
So speaking of, I don't know if this is too early to go into our next piece of music, but talking about things that aren't radio friendly, but continuing with this idea of throwing a bunch of different sounds and instrumentation into a song. Garden of Earthly Delights, which is the lead track off of Oranges and Lemons, which is our big giveaway album, by the way.
I believe it's pronounced oranges and
It's
lemons.
not pronounced that way. It's mispronounced that way. It starts off with Garden of Earthly Delights, and so this is the album that is my favorite of theirs. Oranges and Lemons, a lot of people, it's, Skylarking or English Settlement or even Black Sea, which is probably my second favorite. But Oranges and Lemons came out at a particular time in my life where I was getting way into XTC. They come out with that album, and I put it on and listened on headphones for the first time. And this was the lead track on it, and I was just blown away by the soundscape of it because there's so much going on, and you can listen to it about 10 times and pick out different little parts throughout it. It is fantastic. The bass line, the way the first verse's bass line is different from the second verse's bass line, and there's so much intricacy in it. It is a lot like the painting that's called The Garden of Earthly Delights by, who is it, Van Eyck? Who did Garden of Earthly Delights? I've even seen that triptych. It's in Madrid, I think, which is a crazy, awesome, incredible painting that's full of madness and insanity and beauty at the same time. This song is a lot like that.
Hieronymus Bosch?
Yeah, Hieronymus Bosch.
Hieronymus Bosch.
Yes, he's the one who painted it.
The early Netherlandish master.
Yes, from the Netherlands.
Yes, from
And
1490 to 1510.
like
it seems like they
Netherlandish.
still don't know a lot about him, his life. Like there was some rumors that he was an Adamite or something like this. Like, why did he paint this strange imagery? And it's really crazy stuff if you've ever seen that painting. And it's a triptych too, so if you close it up, you see like this picture of the universe. And then you open it up, and on the left, I think, is the kind of... Is it on the left is the beginning story, and the middle is all of us having sex with each other and stuff, and then at the end is hell.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
it's like
yeah,
a-
you can kind of see like Garden of Eden.
Yeah, Garden of Eden, then present day
present
Earth.
day
and then-
Earth, or 1510 Earth, and then the depths of hell after we ruined
It's
everything.
such a great painting. You can spend hours in front of that. And I spent hours in front of this song.
Yeah, well, you can come back and talk about the painting on the Htwow
Yes.
Art podcast.
Right.
But yeah, let's go ahead and
Let's play the jam.
Yeah, let's play the jam, because this was 1989, and I was curious, at what point in your life did you become aware, and when was the first XTC album that you consumed right when it came out and you weren't going back?
It was probably this one.
So
Yeah.
this is probably why it's so memorable for you, because this is when you felt like you were in the know.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So let's play Gordon's favorite off of Oranges and Lemons. This is Garden of Earthly Delights on Htwow.
Welcome to the garden.
Okay, I have questions.
Yes. It's a crazy ass song.
Okay, so early on, they tried to get Brian Eno to produce one of their first records. And Brian Eno was like, you guys are good enough, you can produce your own records. I don't need to do it. You're already fine. Like, I wouldn't change anything, so just do it yourself. I think it was after one of the first Peel sessions or something. And that keyboard player, where I couldn't remember what band he started when he left, he started it with Robert Fripp.
Okay.
Is that Robert Fripp?
I don't know.
Because that is his thing, right? That's got to be Robert Fripp playing the lead on that. I mean, it's his David Bowie.
I'm looking up personnel.
But that is a Robert Fripp thing. Even if it wasn't, they're doing his thing.
Yeah, that style.
It's like that, whatever effect he has on there that he's doing the those weird harmonics with the...
I don't know how he's getting that sound. I don't know what are the effects that they're using on that, or...
It's that... I swear it used to be on like an Alesis MIDI verb. You could get that thing to work, but it was it's like a weird harmonic thing that when you're just playing the lead, it doesn't do the nice harmonics with it, but it does the ones that work. So it just kind of, you know.
I mean, they have a handful of contributors, but nobody on guitar. All the guitar is Dave Gregory and Andy Partridge.
Because that sounds exactly like the leads from Another Green World from the Eno stuff, and that's always Fripp doing that.
But you can see how their music got so... I mean, this album is so incredibly produced and so rich with layer after layer of guitar, and I mean, it's crazy the amount of sound that's on this album. And that's a pretty good example of... I mean, that one's a little bit more intense, I think, than some of the other ones. Some of the other ones are more conventional songs. Merely a Man is a great tune off that album that's catchy, as well as detailed instrumentation. I mean, that's King for a Day. This is the weird thing, and I bet you this frustrates Andy Partridge. Andy Partridge writes 90% of their songs. But Colin Moulding will always contribute, 4 songs on an album of the 15 songs. And Colin seems to have hits with his. And King for a Day actually got pretty good radio play off of this. And that was one of Colin's songs.
Yeah, that was a big song. What was the band he started with? Is it with the drummer Colin? When they split up, they did a band in the 90s.
Is it on Computer, Dave?
Is it on Computer, Dave? It should be like one of the last lines on the wiki thing. Colin.
Because Colin was also making plans for Nigel. He wrote that one. Vanishing Girl, which is so great. I'm so glad Dave liked Vanishing Girl.
That was great.
It was fantastic.
You know what?
Yes,
hold on,
I use the word fantastic too much. I use the word and too much as well.
Yeah,
I think I'm always conjuncting things.
It says he issued stuff as the Colonel.
No, they were called something. It was.
He took a turn as doing KFC ads.
Yeah.
I will find it. I will find it right now.
By the way, I'm gonna open our second beer.
Do you need to say what it is?
Yeah, I need to say what it is.
Oh, how could you not see this? It's like at the very end of the first thing.
His computer doesn't go that far down.
I was looking up Colin Moulding's wiki.
Colin. So yeah, in 2006, Partridge announced that his creative partnership with Moulding had disintegrated, which always happens. Moulding and Chambers briefly reunited as the duo TC and I.
Never heard of it.
Which I guess is what? Terry Chambers and I don't know, whatever. I don't think that they had like a hit or anything, but it's like 2017.
Did Dave Gregory die? For some reason I thought that one of them died.
You're the expert. You're the foremost expert that I know.
Yeah, you're the one that knocked on his door and hung out in his house, so I mean, yeah.
And then he turned up dead the next day.
I had a cold.
Nope, Dave Gregory is still alive.
Well, he won't be soon.
He is
My plan works.
He is 68. Colin Moulding is still alive. He's 66. And Andy Partridge is 67.
Okay. Do you want to talk about the beer before we start talking about Andy
Yeah,
Partridge's
do you want to
problems?
play some jaunty talking about beer music?
You know, sometimes I like to drink beer on the back porch.
So the second beer that we are enjoying this evening is brand new in Texas, but it is allegedly the oldest continuous brewery in the United States. It is Yuengling Traditional Lager. Yuengling from Pennsylvania.
I've had many a Yuengling.
Yeah, when you're on the East Coast, you can't escape Yuengling, but you couldn't get it around here, and all of a sudden it's everywhere.
Boy, they delivered way too much.
Yeah.
In the HEB in College Station, there is just pallets of it everywhere.
I do love it though.
And they got me too. I bought.
It's
you know
easy drinking.
they have a light version now.
I haven't tried that one yet.
It's really not bad. That's what stopped.
How light is it? Is it light enough for tea?
It's funny, you don't even have to hold it. It just floats towards your face.
Yeah.
That's how light it is.
Okay.
But it's good. It has that look of like a Killian's, even though I think it's the green bottle that's making it red
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
It's super dark, but it doesn't taste super dark. It says it's a lager, but it's really, really dark. It's weird.
You know, life's weird, Dave, and
It's true.
it makes me want to sing a song.
Once there was a beer from Pennsylvania town. We drank it on the podcast. Started to drown.
That was beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, before we only have one song left, and I feel like we might need to just play that on the fly when we get to it.
I love that song.
When before we lose Gordon, because he is our special guest.
You lost me about 2 hours ago.
I
Dave.
know. But before you physically leave the property,
Okay, got you. Yes.
while we have you here as our captive, I do want to get into a little bit of ticket stuff, because
Okay.
I feel like that is what the P1s who listen to this podcast are going to want to hear.
Okay.
And so I guess I wanted to start with...
Why are you yelling?
God, I just project too bad.
You should hear him in the party cove. It's terrible.
I just want to start.
There you go. That's better.
I want to talk about...
Okay, that's creepy.
You should see the compression needle when he hits it.
I want to talk about the genesis of our relationship.
He grew up in an orphanage. You had to yell in
Yeah,
order to get attention
to
and
get
love.
gruel, to get my second helping of porridge.
Please, more soup.
Oh gosh.
So
Yes.
you started earlier at the ticket than I did. You were almost a day oneer?
I was there on day one.
You were an intern
I was an
on day one.
intern
Yeah.
on the morning show on day one.
You were
Skip
supposed
Bayless.
to write
Skip.
comedy for Skip.
Right. Oh god. And he immediately threw it all away.
How did you even come to have that position?
It was convoluted. I knew a guy in community college who knew Mike Reiner.
Okay.
And so that was my path into the ticket. And so the Skip thing lasted, I think, like 2 weeks.
Was he as intense back then? Or
He's he's very withdrawn, you know? I mean, like
Like
I
on the
think-
spectrum?
yeah, kind of like that. He just wasn't comfortable around people. And I would assume he's probably still just like that. So he was never, he wasn't one to hang out with the guys or anything like that. And
Well, now he's rich, so he's probably even more insular and
what was he
weird.
Right.
doing before that? Like, how was Skip
He was
Bayless
Times
a big
Herald.
deal?
Times Herald
he
columnist.
was a columnist.
So he wasn't a radio personality.
No, he was a writer.
Oh.
He started off as a writer. And then,
Man, that skyrocketed pretty.
yeah. And then he
him,
started with the ticket for like a year and a half, I think he was on the ticket. And then after that is when he moved national.
Yeah, and the ticket wouldn't have happened without him.
No,
'Cause
he was the
'cause
biggest name.
He was the biggest name. He was the morning drive host.
And Reiner just knew him already because
Yeah, because he's lived in
Stuff.
town and
Yeah, so that got sponsors to sign up and get the station off the ground to begin with. It became apparent early on that it wasn't a fit.
yeah. But I mean, he lasted a year and a half. That's not nothing.
So
long time.
So your career on Skip's morning show lasted about 2 months.
I swear, Dave, I wasn't exaggerating. I think it was closer to 2 weeks. I used to think that it was like a matter of a few months. But at some point a few years ago, I went back and I don't know whether it was like a journal or a day planner or something like that. And it was like 2 weeks.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So after he decides that he doesn't need you anymore, you still keep showing up and you just kind of float around and somehow...
I got to be friends with all the guys and we were always joking around.
And so somehow you ended up on both Dunham & Miller and the Hardline.
Yeah, doing characters and stuff. Because I'd be doing them in the cubicle area and we'd be laughing at them. And back then, the ticket was real experimental. I mean, there was just like... And I do miss those days. There is a different quality to the station now than there was in the first maybe 5 years of the station. When
it was very mom and pop and very shoestring.
everything was experimental and we just expected it to fail any day. And so there was no... You didn't have the responsibility of keeping a huge multi-million-dollar station going. You know, now the ticket is like this institution, and I don't know how many employees work up at that place. You know, it's gotten to where you don't know everyone that works up there in sales and, you know, promotions team. There's just a lot of people now. And back then there was maybe 18 people that ran the whole station,
right?
Sales, promotions, everything, production, board op. There was just not many people, and so it was so shoestringy that we just were just doing anything we wanted on the air.
And because it was such a startup mentality, that if you did show up, if you did hang around enough,
yeah, they'll just throw you on the air.
You could find stuff for yourself to do, and
Yeah.
you could make friends and ingratiate yourself. And that's so I started later. I started after the ticket was around for maybe 6 months. That I graduated in.
Did you and Corby start at the same time?
I started before Corby.
Okay.
I started maybe in the fall of '94, and then I think Corby maybe started winter of '94. It was very close, but I did beat him in the door a little bit. And so I started out weekend overnight board op, and I glommed on to the Bottle Rockets, Elf and Shapiro, because they were nice to me and they did events. And
that was who you're going to hitch your wagon to.
Well, at first, and then
Then you quickly abandoned them.
Well, then I quickly learned that I really identified with your sense of humor, and I thought that you were the person that I most wanted to hang out with. And so even before the Rant started, I think I did a little bit of work on the Ticket Stub, which was a Friday night show that you had.
Friday and Saturday nights, yeah.
Yeah, so you had a show with another guy who was an up-and-comer dude, Lawrence, who ended up moving away and doing sports somewhere else, right?
Yeah, he went to San Francisco.
Yeah, and so you guys had a show, very irreverent, very proto-rant, right? And I guess I answered phones for you guys or ran the board or something. Again, just raised my hand like, I'll do it.
Yeah.
And then so that became a friendship between us where you and myself and like Doogie Anderson and random people who were just hanging around the station at that time that were around our same age, we would just always go out and always
drinking.
We would always get totally tanked, and we would always wonder who is Gordon going to put in his crosshairs that night.
Yeah.
Someone was going to be eviscerated. Someone was going to be totally deconstructed and be in the fetal position by the end of the night.
I hate myself.
And
my apologies to you.
Yeah. Well, fortunately, despite the beginning of this podcast, what you might think about our dynamic, you didn't necessarily single me out too often. I think for whatever reason, I kind of became your sidekick, and so I would be like that. Yeah. You
Give it to him, champ. You give it to him. Yeah.
Come on, boss.
Yeah, his hair does look stupid.
So then that became the Rant.
Right.
And originally, wasn't it like 7 o'clock in the morning or something?
Yeah, it was
ridiculous?
very early on Saturday mornings. I think it was like 7 to
9, maybe.
I thought we did 7 to 10 at one point, but maybe I'm exaggerating. Maybe we never were 3 hours.
Yeah, I don't know. Eventually, it became 10 to noon. Which
Would y'all show up a little bit tanked still?
Oh yeah. Always.
Yeah, it was not. It wasn't a well-planned show, I'll tell you that. It was real strolling there at 9:59 and turn on the mics and let's see what kind of magic happens.
Yep. And then eventually we stole Corby from the tee box. Mm-hmm.
Because we would make him stay.
Yeah.
That was what it was. Corby worked on the show ahead of us, and we do, hey, could you hang out for the first segment? I have just one question for you. We do the trick of, and then we get to the end of that first segment, hadn't got around to the question we had to ask him. Just hang on, just one more segment, Corby. Just hang out. And so we convinced him to keep hanging out segment after segment until eventually he was on the whole show. And then you guys, there was some musical chairs happening because I was the host, and you guys would take different positions in that other room. I swear there was Corby producing at one point and you were in with me? Or
I think at the beginning Corby was producing and I was running the board. And then I think Corby moved into the room with you and then I was producing and then we got...
then eventually we get somebody else to produce. And
then maybe that was Eric Bright, the salty seaman.
Right.
We had a run of several board ops, all of whom hated us.
Was Dingu ever on this?
Dingu was never on the Rant.
Okay, he came later, I guess.
Well, after Gordon decided he didn't want to do the Rant anymore, then I was...
No, I mean just on the ticket. Was he later on after this, or
he came onto the ticket like 98 or something like that?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was a frequent caller and contributor. He was known as Danny in Lake Highlands.
Yeah, he would do the parody songs and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Right. I mean, think about that. That's pretty cool that we had a station in which a listener can send in material and stuff, and is like, he's real creative and bright and talented, and so it's like, yeah, okay, here, let's give this guy a job. He'd give him a chance, you know?
That's so awesome.
I know.
Dingu.
Dingu.
You know, I was there at the birth of Dingu.
Really?
When that name came up. It's a story for another time.
Is it?
One of the funniest things ever.
Is it vulgar or is it?
No, it's just...
It was at a restaurant, wasn't it?
Y'all are doing ticket stuff. We'll talk about that later.
Okay. All right.
We're not doing Dingu right now.
But yeah, so Dave and I, we've worked together since the beginning of the Rant, right? I didn't do the Rant before you were involved, right? You were always involved from the very beginning.
Yeah, I was your original board op on the Rant, and then I eventually worked my way up to where I was sitting next to you and became your quasi co-host.
Dave's my
sidekick.
security blanket.
Yeah.
I know. He's everyone's
I like to have
security
Dave
blanket.
involved in anything I do.
Yeah, this, I gotta say today, before we started, that was the biggest meeting we've ever had before we've done one of these. Usually Dave just we start it and he goes, do you have anything you want to talk about? Not really. All right, let's see what happens. And that's about as far as it goes. But boy, we planned a little bit.
Hey, way to go,
Well,
Dave.
you know, I want to impress my professional radio friend, and obviously I've failed.
That's why he's so dressed up.
I guess we also.
You're in the crosshairs
I know
now.
you really did dress up for the. But we like to surprise each other with our songs, so we can't talk about it too much.
Yeah, we package, to use a ticket term.
And that's kind of been your formula for success.
Yeah, to not really have any content whatsoever, and something comes up.
That's what's led to all those Patreon subscribers.
Well, what we're getting to is eventually Dave is going to, when we get this certain amount, we're going to build a ramp like we did in junior high.
Oh, I've heard about this.
And he's going to jump trash cans on a Kuwahara.
In his cul-de-sac, we're going to line up his trash cans and build a ramp, and I'm going to have to jump it on a mongoose.
Have you ever...
frame is going to break.
Yeah, I will break my neck. I'll be in traction for months.
You're going to have the down tube go straight through your taint.
Uh-huh.
You did that, right? You built a ramp.
Oh, my God, yes.
Well,
yeah, when I was a kid, it was Evel Knievel time, you know,
Okay.
and my brother was big into Evel Knievel, and so we were still ramping bikes then.
What was your bike?
I had a Huffy, so I mean,
Sweet.
like straight off the JCPenney floor.
I had a
think
Team
mine
Murray
was a
for
Sears
while.
catalog Huffy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I had a number,
Or maybe it was
number
a-
3 Thunder Road is what it said on this Huffy.
Or was it
Jesus.
was Murray a brand of bike?
Murray, I believe,
There
was
called-
Montgomery Ward's
It was Team
brand.
Murray.
Oh, okay.
They said Team Murray.
It must
on
have been a Huffy. I can't remember.
I had a Team Murray. It was sweet. It got stolen out of my front lawn.
Was Murray its own bike company or was it a catalog brand? I can't remember.
I don't remember.
Can't remember. But then
So-
I got a Kuwahara.
Before we leave,
You still have your childhood bike, Toby?
No, I wish that thing. My Kuwahara was from it was the ET Kuwahara,
Oh, really?
and my parents sold it at something, I guess, later on, and now they're worth like $7,000 to get that bike.
Jeez.
My buddy from Pat keeps sending me things from eBay. They're like, "Hey, look at what your bike's worth now." I'm like, "Chief,
Torturing you?
yeah."
jerk.
Because he's the one we used to build the, steel plywood from the construction site. Ramp. I mean, I
Get some
forgot what
masonry
we were
brick.
leaning it up on. And
How did
would,
we not end up more injured? Because
I
the
hurt
stuff we
myself.
had was like, they would collapse at least 70% of the time when we hit the first ramp.
What was your biggest hurt?
I don't ever
on
remember
bike.
getting hurt. That's what's strange about it. I had to have wiped out a lot, but I don't remember too much.
I have scars, but there was no broken bones from it.
I never wiped out on a ramp, but I did have 2 bike accidents. One, I came around a corner and I wasn't paying attention, and I rode right into the back of a parked pickup truck with a bunch of branches stuck in the back and got poked in the face with branches, and my wheel hit the bumper. But my big wipeout that I ended up with like 25, 30 stitches on my forehead was going down a steep hill in my neighborhood. And
Was it called the Widowmaker?
after this it was. And it was one of those stupid things, like an impulse thing where, because it was a BMX bike, so the brakes were doing the pedals backward, right? You could do the power slide
Yeah.
or whatever. But for whatever reason...
Coaster brake is what they're called.
Yeah, but whatever reason, I just thought that I would drag my feet on the ground to slow down.
After what? After the jump or before the jump?
No, there wasn't a jump. It was just going down a
Oh,
steep
you're
hill.
just going down a hill.
And so I'm getting to the bottom of the steep hill, and instead of hitting my brakes, I just start dragging my sneakers on the ground to try and slow myself down.
How'd
and
that
then
work out?
And then I got front wheel wobble,
You got twitch wheel?
and then front wheel just goes 90 degrees, and I launch over the handlebars and land on my forehead.
Yeah, that happened a bunch. Little endo. We had a friend that used to play football with us in the park. Real tall dude named Quentin. So he's on a 10-speed. But do you remember when you used to raise the 10-speed?
Reverse the horns on it.
That move. Mm-hmm. So he showed up at the park and saw that we had I guess they were doing something with the park, so they put a mound of dirt out there. So of course make a ramp out of it. So we did all that, but then we're playing football. But,
That's his Quentin impersonation.
but Quint shows
Kind of
up
offensive.
and he's like, "I'm gonna jump the ramp," and we're like, "Sweet."
On your 10 speed.
On his 10-speed with those little skinny tires, little Schwinn. And he hops the curb and hits the thing, and he is flying down this hill, at this thing. And when he goes up, the front wheel slams so hard on the ground that the horn things, they weren't tight enough. So he just they hook up underneath him, and he just flies off the top, and the bike is rolling over him. Man, we never laughed so hard in our life. I mean, he was fine, but God almighty.
I thought you were going to say he died. You need
No,
to dress up the end.
No, he is dead. But
He's
he
dead
laughed
now?
for a while
Yeah.
before. You're alive a little bit before you die. So, yeah, he's dead now.
He got to experience the joy of
Yeah.
laughter before he passed.
If you're going to die, wouldn't you want to do it that's what you're going to do.
Right? If you're
So-
going to die, you may as well do it entertaining your friends.
Yeah.
How do you want to die, Dave? You ever given that much thought?
Man, I knew we were going to get here.
Man, I'd like to have a heart attack on ecstasy surrounded by whores.
You mean have come to visit you in the hospital to say goodbye to you, or that you're in a scene?
You're in a whorehouse on ecstasy.
No. what I meant to say.
Jesus, that was
what I meant to say is
Yell at us.
what I meant to say is in hospice in my home with my family surrounding me.
Oh,
But your family,
your family
are
are
all whores.
whores? Yeah, that's what I
Your
got.
family
They're all whores.
has all turned to prostitution.
But they've
To
given
pay for
you,
my medical bill.
Yes, to pay for your
But
hospital.
they were like, we
It's
don't want to pay for
expensive.
the medical bills anymore. Give him ecstasy.
If it's round the clock, I mean, you gotta
We
ran tug on a few.
We ran out of morphine. Just give him a tab of ecstasy.
Give him ecstasy, and let's go back to having sex for money.
Got to pay these bills somehow.
Oldest
and you're
per-
sitting there immobile, having to watch all your family on their knees around the bed, servicing random strangers, and tear just running down your cheek. You're tripping balls.
This is not how I pictured it.
It's like, man, I'm exhausted.
Okay, so
Yes.
before we get off rant ticket stuff, I did.
Would you whore yourself out, by the way?
What's the scenario?
to a man or a woman. And,
Well, let's say, okay, so you are, I don't know, last I checked, we're heterosexual.
Yes.
Have you changed that status?
no, I am still heterosexually married.
Okay, so we got to go the opposite of whatever you are.
Right. Okay. So would I turn tricks with dudes if I was in dire enough financial straits? Is that or any
You're already
circumstance?
painting a yes here.
Would you for $1 million? No, for $500,000.
Are we talking hinge or oral or penetration? What are we doing?
I think that. What do you think, Toby? What's the most biblical here?
I mean, you're gonna have to go all the way.
Receiving?
Either way, both.
Receiving.
What would be more difficult for you, receiving or giving in the most?
The deal
Intimate way.
is during when you sign up for it, you don't really know what's gonna happen, right? So
When you sign up for prostitution?
Well, I mean, I lay the
I
ground.
don't think they sign up for
when I check into the La Quinta, I lay down the ground rules and I say, "This is."
You
this
hand
is,
them a little
This is my
scorecard.
this is my safe word. This is the price menu, and these are the no-nos.
It's like if you're ordering a Bloody Mary, so you can check these boxes.
Yeah,
This
no
is
no
what-
horseradish.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. So you're
Is that on the Bloody Mary
Yeah.
or the La Quinta one?
So you're
Which
just,
menu we're talking?
You're just like, this is the menu. This one's gonna cost you a little extra.
Right.
What would be off the menu for you?
I think off the menu would be any invasion of my body by someone else's body.
So you would not perform the
No.
act of
I would-
admiration
I would not.
that involves the face?
I would not finger cuff one at a time.
I don't even know what that means
I
in
don't-
this case.
That
but,
was confusing.
So you're saying that you would not receive facially or gluteally
Right.
another
I
person?
I would face F someone. I would plow someone.
God, these are medical terms that are weird.
I would, you know,
Milk?
yeah, do the milking table with just manual style.
Okay, so you would do all that for say $1,000.
No, we're talking 500,000. I'm worth it.
Oh, I think that
I've-
you would receive it in the face for $500,000.
I have practiced on myself for a long time.
Right.
I know what it takes.
But I'm saying that for $500,000, I think that you would give a man oral admiration.
Is he hot?
Sure. Does that make a difference to
Yes.
you? That does make a difference.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're not all the way straight.
You're fluid.
You're fluid. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean,
It's 2021.
sure.
It is 2021.
So, but if you're not all the way straight, then why would you not allow a man to make sweet love to your facial area for $1 million or
Now
sounds like-
we're at $1 million.
$500,000?
How much do you have?
I have enough. I sold that house down here
Oh, it's true.
for this offer
Yeah,
that I'm
for
about to make
this-
you.
for what we're doing. This is the reboot of that movie.
I mean,
I
I'm
love
gonna.
the graphics on the menu you presented.
I know.
too.
I'm gonna
Nice
wait. I'm gonna
font.
wait for it to show up in my Venmo before I do anything.
Yeah, I think that your price is much lower than that. $500,000, Dave? You would do anything with a hot guy.
Yeah, with a hot guy, all night, whatever you want.
Okay, whoa, boy. What a quick about face that was.
So when
I
Andy
just really had to think about it.
So when Andy
He's
Partridge,
trying to leave, you're begging him to stay. No, all
Where
night.
you going?
All night.
Let's go have breakfast.
The night's not over.
So when Andy Partridge hears this, because
Yes.
there's been a podcast about him, this
When he's in the shed.
This will
Gonna
be
have
his
to hear
favorite
about
part.
Dave at La Quinta with this laminated menu.
Yeah, you got to laminate
with
that.
the thing scratched off that says no face or rear stuff. It's scratched out.
Yeah,
He's put it back on menu.
I put market price next to that.
Market price.
Choose two sides.
Oh man! So what are you guys doing?
Hey, you know what though? Dave did what he had to do in the orphanage. So you know what? You learned
That's true.
that.
Yeah,
You just
gotta
have to make it work.
You got to survive.
You gotta survive.
If the Monsignor is going to give you extra gruel, you do what it takes.
Just you always just go a little too far.
But that's why it's good.
Okay, speaking of too far. All right, before we decide what we're gonna play next, I did want to tie a little bow on the rant conversation.
Okay.
I wanted to ask you two questions. One, what is your favorite or most memorable rant bit? When you think of the rant, what do you think is peak rant? And on the flip side of that, what do you think is something that was very popular, very notorious from the rant days that you regret now?
To be honest, I mean, like, probably most of that stuff I would regret now. Like, most of it I don't know that I would do now. And not just because culture has changed, which it certainly has. But I think, I don't know. When you're younger, it's just easier to be more heartless in comedy, and we
Right.
were definitely that. I mean, heck, we would do stories that involved local people who were involved in
Bun
horrible, horrible circumstances, and somehow they got worked into bits. But I do remember, like, even as the rant was going on, I was feeling bad about it when it was happening. We had a weird dynamic because you were the envelope pusher. I don't know if people remember that. Is that I was kind of the straight man on that show in a way. Because I was always trying to reel you and Corby in.
Right, because it was your show.
Yes. So my name's on the show, so it's like you guys are
We
just
didn't care.
going crazy trying to see if you could get me fired. So I always would play the straight guy. But yeah, there's I'm sure a lot of it doesn't stand up to not only cultural standards, but probably my own sense of conscience. That's the word I'm looking for.
So
Sorry, the IPA
maybe
is really,
JFK Jr.
Yeah, I lingered. My storm cloud lingered over that story a little too long. But you're the one who delivered the knockout punch, but I've had to answer for it ever since.
Yeah, because everybody thinks you said it.
Yes. You heard what this guy said. Do you listen?
No, I remember that. That was a good one.
He had not only a national tragedy, but a family tragedy, which the JFK family had experienced. And you had JFK Jr. when he crashed his plane. We had him crashing on land at the time because it was a breaking news story. But that
Gay Head is where the crash occurred.
Oh, I thought we were doing La Quinta again. No, yeah, you said that his legs compressed back down to the size when he saluted his quote-unquote dead daddy's coffin. And it's just there's so much wrong and
That's
icky with
not
that.
funny, Dave.
Well, you gotta
You got him like paper mache accordion legs.
you gotta give a little bit of context because we were talking about if you're in like a single engine aircraft and you know that you're crashing, is there a point where you could like bail out and survive?
Like to
It's like jumping when the elevators fall.
Right.
Yeah,
Can you
'cause that
jump the
works.
last second?
Can you jump out and like do a barrel roll and be like, fine?
Yeah.
Totally.
Absorb the blow and
Yeah. And then so that's when we thought that
you thought this.
that his shins would
Oh god.
fire up through his kneecaps. And then he
That's
was
why there's
compressed
all
down to
those
that
things
size.
with the people that stand on the roof of the plane. Remember that would do tricks in the
Aerial
fast-
acrobatics.
Yeah, that's what he should have done, because that's how you
Walked
save
out on
yourself.
the wing.
Well, on the top,
If he walked out on the top, you're saying that could have saved his shins
then
from
he can
firing.
barrel roll right off the
I don't think
the front.
that's possible.
That's just what I've heard. What you're
Like
supposed to do.
whenever like a ninja is about to be hit by a car and then they jump and the car goes underneath them and then they land.
Yeah, it's just science.
You're saying that JFK should have done a ninja move on top of his plane.
Well, the Matrix hadn't come out yet, so he probably didn't.
Yeah, and they
He's
landed
probably-
in water. He would have been
Paper
totally
mache
fine.
legs.
He probably didn't know that was even
Well,
possible.
he crashed on the water anyway.
Yeah, so he should have just jumped out.
Cannonball,
Can
opener.
preacher seat right into that thing. Sapluche.
Once again, we're trying to talk about how things have gotten better. And,
No one listens to this.
And
Do
the
you
fact that he
know-
is a human being that had a family, well, most of them are
Most of them,
dead too.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, what was your favorite bit? Like, what makes you still giggle if it comes up, if somebody brings it up, or you just randomly think about it?
There's, of course, some of these, they're still politically incorrect. Some of the, one thing that makes me laugh that didn't make me laugh at the time was the St. Louis train bit, because it is still just appalling to me.
The worst bit ever.
It's you know this one, Toby?
I do not know
So,
this.
oh God. It both makes me angry and it makes me laugh now. But at the beginning of the show, we did this story about this children's train at a children's zoo, you know? They have those little trains that the kids get on. Mm-hmm. And the conductor is, some old man who's up there in an engineer hat.
It goes like
running.
5 miles an hour.
Yeah, it goes real slow.
No, I know
But
the
there was a
train.
news story, I think it was in St. Louis, and this children's zoo train, it was a runaway train kind of incident. It got going and they couldn't stop it and it derailed.
How fast can they go?
And the thing is I don't remember the actual news story, but there's a good chance that kids would have been hurt on this. But of course we blew right by that because Dave and Corby smelled comedy in the water. So they went for it and they said, hey, listen, we're going to go in and produce, some audio of this train accident.
Like an actuality of what really happened.
Yeah, and then we can play it on the air next segment.
Sure.
I'm like, okay, we got a commercial break coming up. Fine. So we go to a commercial break and I go and check on them. Yeah, we're getting it together right now. We're pulling all the sound effects right now and everything. We'll get it. We'll bring it in as soon as we get it done. And so I'm like, okay, and I go and I start the next segment and keep going. And I do 10 minutes by myself. They still haven't come in with this, what's supposed to be a throwaway
Genius.
bit, right? And they still haven't come in with it. Do another segment. They're still working on it. Another This goes on for, I swear, an hour and a half. I mean, we're like towards the end of the show. And they still haven't delivered this comedy gold that they are preparing. And, I'm thinking, okay, they're both comedically minded people who are layabouts in their private life and drunkards. But when it comes to comedy, they take that kind of seriously. And they're being meticulous in there. They're getting it just right.
They're getting the train sound perfect.
Right.
Yeah.
It's going to be worth it.
It's going to be worth it.
They might have gone and recorded a real train.
They may have rented some time at Crystal Clear or somewhere. They're doing something here. So finally, and I'm getting pissed this whole time. I'm like, come on, just forget it. Come in the studio. Let's do a show. I don't even know what I'm talking about. And so finally they come in with this bit and they play it on the air. And it was the worst comedy bit I'd ever heard in my life.
There was no punchline.
There were no punchlines. There were no laugh points. It was so slapped together. And
That's awesome.
It was just Corby doing his old man voice and me doing random animal sounds.
He's trying to do animal sounds in the background. And you know what it sounds like? Dave doing animal sounds 6 feet off the mic. Oh, it was just horrible. And I still get pissed when I think about it. Because I was out there tap dancing for my dinner at 1,000,000 miles an hour.
I was looking for a more happy memory. More of a happy Rant memory.
Well, it's kind of happy because it still cracks me up how insane that situation was, that you guys thought it was okay to leave me hanging and then have
for half the show or more
zero payoff at the end of it.
It was the worst.
Is there any audio of this left?
That existed for a while.
I don't know. The Unticket might have it.
Stupid Corby who can't change his voice to save his life, trying to do an old man.
He does one
Look
character.
at there, kids. Look at the crazy, look at the funny monkeys. And
it's still Grandpa Corby.
Yeah, oh, jeez.
Well, I think to this day, if you talk to, and it's weird because the internet is forever, and there is so much Rant audio that can be found.
That shouldn't be found.
Although
I have an idea for a Rant show. I've talked to you about that before, I think, right?
Yeah. But there are kids who maybe weren't even born when the Rant was on.
That's true.
That listen to this old audio of this show from 20, 25 years ago. And the one show that everybody always comes back to is the all-in-one show. Lobster claw, baby arm, and the rat that ate the baby's face.
Oh, jeez.
That was all the same show.
Was it the same show as the Chinese Jimi Hendrix?
No, that was a different one. That was a hypothetical.
Same show as Blood Cannons?
No, that was a different hypothetical.
See, what happened to this gold?
I know.
Where is this?
It's out there. It doesn't need to be out there. It needs to die.
No, it needs to. We need new content.
But so here's my idea for a show. I talked to Dave about. I want to take the old Rant audio, take select pieces of it, listen to it again with a critical eye, with today's, we talk about how this doesn't fly now. We acknowledge that this happened. And we also talk about our lives and what's happened since then. Because it is interesting to me that we started this show as really young men and that we still are in the same town. I'm still working full time at that station. And hear these pieces of audio from the past that are, some of them still hold up comedically, if not culturally. Even if they don't culturally.
Right. Almost none of it holds up culturally.
Oh my gosh. It didn't at the time. At the time, it was shocking and shouldn't have been on the air. But we had this feeling like it's on Saturday, nobody's listening. And then you get 3 of us idiots in the same room together, and there's no parent.
But that's the best. That's the best audience. It's because that's what they want to hear. They're mowing the lawn.
And all
they're
these
like,
Thank
God.
The other show I really remember, Dave, and I don't know if you remember this. Do you remember the guy who called up that was suicidal?
I don't know about that one.
It's
like
really
for real
freaky.
suicide?
Yeah, this dude was truly suicidal, and he was
Not
calling
Dennis
up.
DeYoung?
No, it wasn't Dennis DeYoung. He was suicidal, and he said that he was going to kill himself. And I think he said that he was going to do it the night before, but he wanted to hear our show the next morning, and just wanted to say that he thanked us and listened to us, and it's been a good one. And he was going to kill himself like that day. And we were talking with him about this on the air, and then I stayed after the show talking with him off the air for, I talked to him through every break because we didn't know when he was going to do this and scared that he was going to do it, and then talked to him after the show and everything. And I think I heard from him like a year later, and he was still alive. I don't know what happened after that.
I mean, he's
though.
dead now. We know he's dead.
Well, we don't know that. But it was a really weird piece of real high-stakes radio when he's calling in, a suicidal man calling into the 3 biggest jackasses who didn't have maturity.
Yeah.
But I think we actually did handle it maturely. I mean, like,
Every once in a while we had moments.
Yeah.
Where kind of like Will
rose
Ferrell.
to the level of being a human.
Well, kind of like Will Ferrell in Old School, where we would just suddenly snap into being a normal human and a productive member of society. And, like when the shuttle exploded over North Texas. That happened during our show. And we went into news coverage. We didn't joke. We didn't make one single joke about that. And we were trying to find sources, and we were trying to take calls from people who saw wreckage falling from the sky. And I mean, we really took it seriously. So every once in a while, we had it in us. But most of the time, our base instincts took over.
Well, most of the time, it's just a Saturday morning.
And we're wasted.
And that's fine.
And we're hungover.
And everyone's hungover, and they want to hear y'all hungover too.
Okay, we have one more song to play, and I was...
God, how long does this thing go on?
Well,
Toby, edit all this out.
Yeah, edit all of it.
Edit everything out.
It's gonna look...
Okay, so...
Just play 4 songs.
So I was going to play a song...
talking.
I was going to play a song for you that I felt was inspired by the power pop of XTC, and I felt it had a little bit of a Rant tie-in because it's a band that was one of the return cuts that we used to play all the time. It was like a secondary Rant theme.
Ah, yes.
The teenage fan club.
Yes.
The teenage fan club song "Get Funky." It was like "Hello, Disco Citizens," and then it was like just really super guitar-y and fun. It was only like a minute long, and so I was gonna play another song off that record. But now I feel like this, outside of the last 20 minutes, has been very XTC centric, and so rather than play a non sequitur tune, I want to know, what XTC song do you want to hear right this second?
Right this second, let's hear Earn Enough for Us. Is that an XTC song? I just made up that title.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, they do have one named that. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That is handy.
Dang. I told you they had a lot of songs.
We got a lot of tune.
This is off of Skylarking, right? Does that
Sounds
sound
good
right?
to me.
Does that sound right?
Yes.
That sounds
yes, that
perfect.
is correct.
Well, here it is.
On this station.
Earn Enough for Us. Special request goes out to Gordon Keys.
Stop using that voice.
I've been praying all the week through, at home, at work, and on the bus. I've been praying I can keep you and to earn enough for us. I can take humiliation and hurtful comments from the boss. I'm just praying by the weekend I can earn enough for us. Found a house that won't repair itself, with its windows cracking and a roof held together with hose. Just because we're on the bottom of the ladder, we shouldn't be sadder than others like us who have goals for the betterment of life. Glad that you want to be my wife, but honest, I've been praying all the week through, at home, at work, and on the bus. I've been praying I can keep you and to earn enough for us. So you're saying that we're gonna be 3 now, fathers while I'll be. Don't get me wrong, I'm so proud, but the belt's already tight. I'll get another job at night, but honest, I can't take humiliation and hurtful comments from the boss. I'm just praying by the weekend I can earn enough for us. Just because we're on the bottom of the ladder, we shouldn't be sadder than others like us who have goals for the betterment of life. Glad that you want to be my wife, but honest, I can't take humiliation and hurtful comments from the boss. I'm just praying by the weekend I can earn enough for us. I can earn enough for us.
That was good. Now that was 86.
I
So
remember
we
that
ended up
jam.
going back in time a little bit.
I definitely remember that one.
But I feel good about that, and I remember that song.
Do you?
And that's a hot one. I like that one.
Yeah.
I've never
That's-
been a huge XTC fan. And maybe it was Dear God that turned me off because they played that on the Edge all the time, and I hated that song. Not for religious reasons. I didn't like the concept of it. I didn't like the way it sounded. It grated on me.
Right.
And so maybe I'd slotted them unfairly because they have so much gold.
I know. And there's so many different kinds of songs. Like that song to me is very similar to kind of that Vanishing Girl kind of feel to it of very, I don't know, very major key sounding. And then you have stuff like Garden of Earthly Lights or Love on a Farm Boy's Wages, which we didn't play. But so, yeah, you'll find stuff that you like in their catalog there, Dave. They've had so much good stuff.
Well, and, there are bands that came later, like Teenage Fan Club or like Sloan, bands that were power pop and maybe didn't necessarily try to emulate XTC, but tried to emulate the Beatles in the way that XTC did. And there's plenty of that stuff that I like. So it's weird that I did have this blind spot for them. But I'm going to revisit.
Let's wrap this up so Gordon can go
Gordon
home.
needs to go
I
home.
need to go pass out.
Yeah,
I'm
you've had a
tired.
long day. You did morning drive, and now you're doing an evening podcast.
You have a concert
God,
tomorrow.
that was today. Yeah. I'm going to go up to Lava Cantina in the Colony and sing, I don't know, what slate of bands. I'm getting dragged there.
Like old school, like cover bands or the actual
it was,
artists?
I know one of the bands is Htwow.
Oh,
Remember
I
they
heard.
sang-
I heard
They
that.
sang that Dirtbag song.
Yeah. Who else is on that bill? Everclear, Living Color, Hoobastank, and Wheatus.
That is very 90s.
Yeah. So enjoy that.
Thank you. I shall.
All right. I mean,
What?
do we need to sing it out? Is
Yeah,
it gonna be
play the
singing?
tune.
I'm playing it.
Wrap it up. What are you going to say? Are you going to say something?
Yeah. You can play along with this if you want to.
I can't go there when brains were handed round. Please be abstaining from the mere simpleton, or getting past the cover of your books were found. Please be abstaining from the mere simpleton.
Thank you so much for listening to Htwow episode 50, the September 2021 episode. There are 49 other ones of this that are not featuring Gordon Keith, but they're maybe worth checking out if you...
I'm hoping I'll be edited out of this one.
yeah, it's probably going to hurt your reputation to appear on this show. But thank you for
I
being
was here for the recording of the first 49 and you edited me out of those, so hopefully you'll continue.
But thank you for listening to the pod. Please tell a friend. Sorry, I call it pod, Gordon. And thanks to Gordon Keith for taking time out of his busy schedule as a multi-million-dollar Dallas media magnate to join us on our humble podcast and hang out and play XTC with Toby and I. And reawaken XTC as an artist that I need to check out, and hopefully for you listeners as well. That's what we're about, is turning you on to new stuff and reminding you about old stuff that maybe you haven't listened to in a while, or maybe you didn't give enough time back in the day. That's why we're here, and to drink beer.
Simpleton, but I know one thing, and that's I love you. When all logic grows cold and all thinking gets done, you'll be warming the arms of the mayor of Simpleton. You'll be warming the arms of the mayor of Simpleton.
Oh, by the way, become a patron. Maybe play some more Use the Stratosphear on the
The
After
snare
Dark.
doing that echo and then tight.
But we are going to release Gordon.
Thank you.
He
Thank you, Toby.
He is no longer going to be a hostage during the After
Thank
Dark.
you, David.
That was awesome. Thank you, Paul Everett.
I love you.
Yes,
thank you,
Paul
Everett.
Everett, for picking up the phone, or
Thank
at least
you.
calling you back.
Thank you, Bucks Burnett, for having the address.
That's right.
Oh,
God
man.
bless.
Go visit Buck's 8-track museum.
Yes, and God bless Andy Partridge. Go see him when you're in Surrey
And God rest Dave
or
Gregory's soul.
Swindon Town. He's
Swindon
still
Town.
alive. Still alive.
He's good.
Oh,
Still
let
alive.
him pre-rest.
Good night.
Bye, Gordon.
Hi. I'm not home right now. But if you want to leave
It's
a
definitely
message,
him.
just start talking at the sound of the tone.
I love it.
Could that be him?